We're back! It's another episode! Welcome everybody to episode 7 of Sucker for Love. This is not Sucker for Love. Cthulhu? Roxanne? Nyarlathotep? I didn't know you guys were in the cold reaches of outer space. Look, I'm not complaining. But this isn't your story, this is Juno's story. This is my Furry Protogen, part 7, uploading to the channel. I told you guys I was going to be dedicated to finishing this. We're going to finish it.
But first, I want to remind you guys that there's 1 week left for you to place your pre-order for the new Juno or Xena body pillows over on Blue Screen Apparel. Pre-orders close July 31st, so make sure to get yours while you can. A link is in the description below, or go to bluescreenapparel.com.
Anyway, it's time to move on with the story. It's time to see if Lance is actually going to come with us on the ship. I actually have no idea. So I think in the last episode, he asked us to bring him with us. With us. Yeah, that's what it is. Yep. Into space? Yeah, we want to go to space, bro. He wants to explore. He wants to be a cosmonaut. Yeah, I won't get in your way. The Protogen was telling me about space stations where you can find companions and travel the universe. I want to go to a station like that, but I'll never be able to do it unless you help me. Please, it won't cost you anything. I won't cause problems, just a silent companion who'd travel with you for a while. Juno and I were silent and we considered Lance's request, who looked at us with hope in his eyes. I hadn't expected him to ask for something like that at all. But after being on this planet for even a few days, I would see why some people would be so desperate to get out of here. Juno, after a long seconds of silence, finally asked, "Are you sure this is what you want? You realize that there's a chance you'll never be Wait, I've done this before. I've been in this place before! Okay, we're back! I fast-forwarded in time with my brain powers, because I'm just such a big Protogen brain inside this visor. It is literally just brain inside this visor. There's nothing else except brain. No fluff, no air, just pure, muscular, 16 abs worth of brain, bro. Right, moving on with the story. We set off towards the cave exit, preparing to face a wall of howling wind and blizzard, when suddenly we heard a growl in the dark. I froze in place and Juno stopped too. We both stared intently into the darkness, trying to make out the source of the growl, shining our flashlight in the direction we heard it coming from. Oh. Suddenly, red eyes flashed right in front of us, and 3 beasts stepped into the light. They were grayish-white, with long paws and yellowish, long fangs. Oh god, it's the werewolf episode! It's the werewolf breeding area! Juno, get back! I'll protect you! Juno's like, no, I must research them. For science! Their red, bloodshot eyes froze on us. It felt too much like something I'd seen before, and it sent shivers down my spine. Ooh, are they infected? Are they infected by the virus that's going around? Juno. My voice shook silently, and the sound of it made the animals huddle on the ground, preparing to jump. Oh, well, there's her shotgun. Juno snatched her rifle, pointing at the animals, and fired, killing all 3 of them almost instantly. Oh, wow, no buildup. Okay. It's just gonna happen. She's just a badass like that, bro. The bodies fell to the ground, dark blue blood immediately staining the deep white snow. Interesting. The red glow in their eyes faded, their open mouths still bubbling with saliva, but the roar was silent, ceased, leaving us only with the sound of the wind. That's just like on my planet. Go to the jet, I need to get the bodies to the lab. I'll help you, you can't carry them all. Juno nodded begrudgingly. It was obvious she wanted to get me to safety as soon as possible. We walked over to the bodies. Juno took 2 by the scruff of their neck. I took the remaining one, and we headed off to the jet left by Pixie. Juno, I'm not going crazy, right? It's the virus. We need to do some research first, but yes, I think it's the same one. You have a vaccine, right? Juno nodded. Yes, the one from your planet. We don't know yet if there are differences. It might be useless. I'll analyze it, do some research, and then we can decide what to do next. Oh shit, so this planet, it doesn't matter that we got here in time to stop the devices, it still spread the virus. So not only is it a virus that infects the planet itself, it's a virus that's actually, I want to say like maybe airborne or pathogen-based of some kind, like some kind of, I don't know. Maybe we'll find an answer eventually, but I'm like really trying to piece together what's going on here. It's interesting. Once back on the jet, Juno immediately dragged the bodies to the lab, and then together, in complete silence, we went back to the device to disable it and retrieve all the equipment. Then we returned, closed the doors, and Juno immediately gave Pixie the order to fly up to the ship. What about Lance? He's never been to space. We're not in space, we're in orbit. Ah, yes, low orbit. Still technically within the atmosphere, but not in the atmosphere. Semantics! Besides, he wanted to travel. Let him get used to it, see what it's like up there. For now, I need my main lab. Juno stripped off her thermal protection suit, remaining in her armor. You need any help? I could see how much Juno tensed, how her shoulders literally stiffened. She's nervous because we got infected by the virus before, so she's seen us infected from the first game already. She managed to save us, but I'm sure that image is still burned in her mind. She was obviously deep in thought. Her helmet reflected nothing but a serious, pensive expression. No need. Go to bed. I'll do the research and analyze the samples in the meantime. Are you sure I can keep you company? Juno turned to me and put her palm on my shoulder. It's okay, Raeal. Really. You're tired. Go get some rest. If anything happens, I'll call you right away. And tell Lance in the morning not to come into my lab unannounced. I'll get Pixie orders. Right now, he'd better not walk around the ship at all. We've brought the virus here, and until Lance gets a vaccine, it's not safe. Fair. So quarantine. Sounds like all of my entire 2021. I nodded, accepting the orders. Juno hugged me gently, said goodnight, and headed off towards the lab bay, closing the doors behind her. She's such a protective, scientist girl. Damn, man. What a great asset to the company. What company? Find out in the next episode of My Furry Protogen. I don't know if that's actually a lore point they're going for. I have no say in what happens with this story, even if I might own Juno the character. With a heavy sigh, I went to our bedroom, took a quick shower, and laid in bed, forcing myself to fall asleep. Despite the maelstrom of thoughts swirling in my head, fatigue quickly took its toll, and within minutes I fell into a deep sleep. The next day. Interesting. So, they didn't end up stopping the virus. That makes me wonder if it's already too late. If once the spikes are set, if it's already too late to stop them. Because if they're able to do that much damage in that short amount of time, then it doesn't really stand to reason that there's a viable way to stop it from happening. And the planet might as well be lost. I mean, maybe if you take it out quick enough, the planet overall doesn't explode? I don't know. I woke up, got out of bed, and went straight to the navigation bay, hoping to find Juno, but unfortunately, she wasn't there. Hey, what's up, buddy? But I found Lance sitting in one of the chairs. He looked out of the ship's window in mesmerized silence at his own planet. As I approached Lance, I too looked at this frightening, extraordinary beauty for a few moments. You okay, buddy? Lance didn't take his eyes off the view and responded. It's just unbelievable. It's magical. I never thought it was like this. Never thought it was so beautiful. Wire, it's just beautiful. I nodded, sinking down next to him. From space, Wire was indeed beautiful, like an icy snowball frozen in the middle of nowhere. Pixie told you we had to go up? Yes, it explained that it was necessary, and I'm glad this happened. And that view. Can't believe I'm actually seeing it. Look at it, Raeal. How beautiful and so quiet. And that's just our galaxy. I smiled weakly. Is your planet here too, in our galaxy? Yes, though it's far away. There are many planets in the galaxy. I too was unaware of all this greatness until I met Juno and saw it all for myself. It's impossible to imagine, only to see it with your own eyes. I made myself comfortable in the chair and went silent, savoring the beauty with him. We spent long minutes in silence before Pixie called me to join Juno in the lab. Lance was immediately distracted as well and asked, "Can I come with you?" I shook my head. "Later, buddy. Juno and I will call you, okay?" Lance nodded. He didn't seem at all upset about having to stay here from the look on his face. Like a child watching a miracle, he turned his head back to the huge panes of the ship's window and continued to stare. I headed towards the lab bay. Damn, this is a big-ass ship, I'm just now realizing. Juno got like a damn freighter. Oh, she is frustrated. Oh my god, she looked so frustrated and tired. Oh, Juno, come here and give me a hug. Don't worry. I don't care that you smell like lab work for the last 24 hours. Come here and give me a hug. It's okay. We'll make it through this together. The doors were locked for security reasons. I quickly entered the code and stepped inside, immediately finding Juno sitting at one of the tables, intently studying all the materials. Stopping near her, I put my hand on her shoulder. You didn't sleep at all, did you? She shook her head. I didn't have time for that. I studied the samples and, well, studied everything I could. And how are the results? Juno sighed. I don't want to say the results are comforting, but after I scrutinized the bodies of the animals that attacked us yesterday, you were right. It's that virus. It's virtually identical to the one on your planet, except with some minor changes. Oh, good. It's mutating. Great! I love a mutating virus. They are 95% similar, to the other 5% being variations due to local climate conditions and differences in local nature. Variations? But you said it's the same virus. Yes, it is. It is roughly the same time of infliction, the same route of infection, and same effect on the living organism. These creatures were infected at the same time about a couple days ago. Apparently, they went out to hunt, but didn't return to their pack. The virus made them fight back and flee. If they had returned, they would have infected the whole pack, and then we wouldn't have been attacked by just 3 of them. What are the changes? Are there any major differences that would prevent us from curing everything? The changes are mainly climate-related. The virus is more resistant to cold. In addition, the time of infection and transmission from stage to stage is faster. In simple terms, the efficiency of the virus is improved. Is somebody... I feel like this is somebody building a super weapon for no other reason than to just destroy shit. Like, I cannot fathom a single reason to just destroy shit. There's no motive. There's no reasoning. Like, these planets are seemingly innocuous, like, full of, and, like, my planet and Lance's planet also being, like, primitive planets of less developed, like, species and, you know, beings, makes me question what the hell is the motive behind this. It doesn't seem like there is a motive. So why make a super weapon that's capable of destroying something? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to base this off of Protogen lore, but I don't know how closely to, like, actual Protogen lore this is, like, taking place. Technically, if it's actual Protogen lore, Protogens and humans never meet. So this virus was specifically designed for this planet. Juno rubbed her chin thoughtfully. I think it's something like a mutation, a strain. There's one single base that is modified, so the virus is ready for any conditions. On this planet, it's cold tolerance. On yours, it destroyed organics, contaminated water. It's as if the virus is adapting to the environment it enters. Are you saying it's sentient? What about the vaccine you gave me? Will it work? Juno shook her head. It will take me a while to create another vaccine based on the existing one, specifically for this strain. It will take a few hours. I think it'll be ready by tomorrow morning. But we need to act as soon as possible. We go back to Wire and distribute the vaccine. Not like we can spray the vaccine everywhere. No, but we can pour it into wells and give it to the residents and livestock. That way they will be protected. I nodded. Juno's idea was the only right one. But, okay, problem with that, if the vaccine is mutating, then you're gonna end up with the problem of it mutating to deal with your vaccine. The reason it didn't mutate with us is because we were patient 0 and also, like, the only infected, like, being at the time. So, if, like, in this case, right, we distribute the vaccine to this planet, everybody gets cured, but let's say some wildlife is still infected, reintroduces that, and that virus finds a way to mutate to reinfect the people. I feel like this is a complete planet-wide cleanse you need to do. Sort of like the, that mission from Mass Effect 3 with the one alien guy, where you distribute the vaccine to save the planet, and then he dies, and then you're sad. God, that crushed me. I nodded. Juno's idea was the only right one. We'll have to let the residents know somehow. Yeah, we'll use Lance's help. With the jet, we'll be able to visit most of the settlements. There aren't many. They're mostly concentrated near the equator and down south. We can do it in a couple days. The news was encouraging. I exhaled with relief, realizing that we had a good chance of protecting this planet from destruction. Juno asked Pixie to get Lance, and soon the lab doors opened. Lance looked around in surprise, interested in the equipment and the monitors, and then he came over to us, sitting down in a vacant chair. He smiled uncertainly when he saw our focused faces. Poor Juno! She is on fumes, man. Somebody needs to get her a banana. 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 And like a glass of water, please. Something wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Juno and I looked at each other and began to share what we already knew from afar. Told Lance about the virus, how it worked, and the great danger it posed. Lance listened intently without interrupting. There was no panic on his face, though there was a flicker of fear in his eyes. And you want me to talk to the whole planet on your behalf? Yes, you're one of them. You're their representative. They'll believe you a lot faster than they'll believe us. But what if they don't believe me? Maybe my home village and a few neighboring ones won't be a problem. We get along well with them, but the southern tribes, we don't have warm relations with them. Juno tried to hide her tired expression from the visor and said in a calm voice, "Aw, look at, she's doing her best. She's doing such a good job. Oh my God, I love her adorable face. God, I need a hug." We'll have to try. If it fails, I will try to make the vaccine in the form of a gas and spray it over the southern tribes, but there's a chance that its effect may be weaker. It would be better to take the vaccine internally, either by water or vaccine. Are you willing to help us? Juno and I looked at Vance, who still looked a little confused under our stern gazes. Of course, what kind of question is that? It's my planet. Of course I'll do everything to save it. Great! Then you both can rest for now. Figure out what to say to the locals, and I'll work on developing an antidote. Juno, you need sleep. Are you sure you don't want to rest at least for a bit? Juno shook her head and smiled softly at me. No time for that. I'll rest once we get this damn virus sorted out. I nodded, realizing that saving the planet was the priority right now. Lance and I walked out of the lab, leaving Juno to her work. Poor Juno, man. She is burning that midnight oil. But maybe we'll actually get to save Lance's planet. I don't know. It'd be interesting to save the planet because, like, then that proves that the virus can be stopped. But I wonder if that's going to trigger, like, some kind of failsafe on the devices to be like, hey, ding-a-ling-a-ling, there's a problem over here, and call, like, some kind of mothership or some kind of guy to start shooting fucking laser blasts at my face. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the story's got in mind for me. All I know is shit's fucked. She's gonna make it, right? Lance looked at his planet with sadness and apprehension. I put my hands on his shoulders, patting him gently. Gonna be all right, man. Juno will handle everything. Did she help your planet? Uh-oh! Lance looked at me hopefully. I just pressed my lips together. She did as much as she could. Oh no! My answer satisfied Lance. Ah! We gotta tell Lance what happened, man. We gotta be open and honest with Lance, my dude, because holy fuck, my planet is kind of like cosmic stardust now. My planet doesn't exist anymore. My planet and my orbit revolves around Juno because she is wonderful. After asking Pixie to heat up some food, we headed to the food bay, hoping to pass the time and get some rest. The next day! All day long, Juno worked on the vaccine, practically never leaving the lab. Lance and I tried to stay out of her way, spending our time talking. In the morning, as Juno had promised, the vaccine was ready, which meant we could go down and begin our rescue operation. Does that mean she's been awake for 48 hours now? I feel, oh my God, that poor girl. She needs some sleep! You know what? Screw it. This time, your head can be in my lap, Juno. You need it. I will frickin' head pat you and scritch behind those ears. You know, you can rest. It'll be fine. Lance got the vaccine first. Juno and I already had the antidote to the virus, and as soon as he took it, we took the jet down to the planet. The first stop on our way was the northernmost remote village. Small houses made of wood and brush huddled together in the snowdrifts. The locals were busy doing their own things, working, tending livestock, looking after children. Once in the village, the first thing Lance did was to strike the large gong hanging in the middle of the main square. The loud sound echoed throughout the settlement, causing the inhabitants to stop what they were doing. The local elders were the first to show up, and Lance was the first to tell them what happened. After that, all the villagers were gathered in the square, staring at Juno and me with fear, surprise, and curiosity, whispering amongst themselves. It was lucky that the locals of Wire knew of the existence of alien life and had already encountered space travelers. Oh, that's right, I forgot that was a part of their lore. Thanks to this, the reaction was far less extreme than it might have been. Weird shiny space thing! Shoot it! I mean, that'd be my reaction, honestly. If I saw some weird shiny space thing coming at me, I'm fucking pulling out the Glock, man. Unless it's you, Juno, because you're not some weird shiny space thing. You are sexy shiny space woman. And me am small proto am to fluster and am need of you and hugs and stuff. Yeah. It looks awfully warm in that jacket. Can I join? Juno and I tried to stay behind Lance, telling him what to say while he explained in simpler language to his kin what had happened. Of course, upon hearing the news about the terrible disease and the vaccine frightened the locals, they were distrustful of the story and became indignant, fearfully whispering amongst themselves. A loud rumble of voices filled the square, and some panicked, trusting in the spirits and asking for their protection. Uh-oh. This is going about as well as I thought it would. The dead body of the infected beast that Juno had taken with her had to be provided as proof. She pointed out the physical changes, the blood-filled, glossed-over eyes, the saliva frozen around its mouth, and the blackish blood seeping from its body. Such proof convinced the elders, and they told the locals to listen to us and take the antidote. We spent several hours giving the vaccine to everyone, treating the livestock, and pouring the antidote into the local wells. When the work was done, we were surrounded by a tight ring of locals eager to talk, gaze at the sky travelers, and ask questions. Yeah, I've been in that position before. People looking at me like I'm weird, but that's because I'm a furry. No other reason! Damn, Raeal, why are you so small? Why are you looking up at me? How's the weather up there? Fucking Goliath! I'll punch you in the dick! There was no time for that. We had to get to the next village, for the day had just begun, and we had to get everything done before the virus spread. Yeah, that seems like priority number 1 for this. We got to the next village, we followed the same pattern. Lance would talk to the elders, convince them to listen, promise them that the vaccine would do no harm, then the people would gather in the main square and we would do our job. Same thing for the next village, I'm assuming. In some villages, the process took more time, and others, less time. The hardest ones were the settlements in the south. It was difficult to reach an agreement with those inhabitants. The elders, when they saw a representative of an unfriendly tribe, were reluctant to make contact and delayed negotiations. But in the end, they still agreed when Juno and I intervened, telling them how serious the consequences could be if they did not take action in time. We were lucky that there were not many settlements on the planet, otherwise our rescue operation would have taken much longer. The inhabitants did not differ much from tribe to tribe, except for some attributes in clothing and different dialects. Oh, I just realized something. We're giving them a vaccine that we never tested on Lance. I get that the vaccine was probably made by using the beast DNA and stuff, and like antibodies and stuff, but technically, don't you have to make a vaccine by getting an infected host and then taking that infection and basically kind of doing infection things to it and making a cure to that? Is that how vaccines work? I don't fucking know, bro. All I know is they work. Otherwise, they were all alike, and the shared threat helped unite them. We traveled to Lance's village last, figuring it would be the least of our problems. Oh, I have a feeling it's not going to be the least of our problems, is it? As we approached the settlement, I noticed that Lance was visibly nervous, fidgeting in his chair, his eyes darting around nervously. I knew it! He's going to cause problems. He ran away from home. It made me wonder what Lance had been hiding from us all this time. He had been with us for almost a week without telling us about his life even once. I wondered who was waiting for him in the village, or if anyone was waiting at all. But Lance had no time to meet his family, if he had any. Once in the settlement, he immediately went to the elder's house, discussing with him everything that had happened. Then in the main square, he announced to the inhabitants what had happened and urged everybody to take the vaccine. As expected, the locals believed Lance and were much quicker to listen to him than the other villages. As soon as those in Lance's village finished taking the vaccine, we breathed a sigh of relief. We could finally head back to the ship and rest. Most of the villagers were still standing around, looking curiously at the celestial travelers who had arrived. They crowded around us in a ring, hesitant to come closer, whispering and glancing at Lance, who, to their surprise, was so at ease with the aliens. It's actually nice here. Reminds me of Snowden, bro. Man, I love Snowden. Use Snowden music for this section. Lance smiled crookedly. Yeah, it's a good village. Where do you live? I'd like to see your house. Do you have a family here? Or my question was interrupted by a ringing, childlike voice from somewhere in the crowd. Oh no. Young child, punt like football. Lance, you're back! Yuki, a little girl very similar in appearance to Lance, ran out of the crowd and immediately ran to him, clinging his legs and hugging him tightly. Aww! Lance froze in place, placed his palm on the girl's head, and tentatively stroked her hair. Hey, Yuki. We thought you were gone! Where have you been? Why did you take so long to come back? Mother thought you were dead! The girl, Yuki, started to cry, sobbing loudly and hugging Lance. Oh no! He abandoned his fucking family, didn't he? Lance, that is not a very cash money thing to do. That's not very gamer of you. Juno and I watched in awkward silence, not knowing what to say or whether to intervene. I'm fine. Nobody ripped me apart, see? I'm alive and well. But where have you been? I was, doing a very important job, helping sky travelers with their mission. Yuki started mumbling something, sobbing and pressing her face into Lance's legs. She was small and short, and I could barely estimate her age. She was probably about 6 or 7. Before Yuki could calm down, more children came running out of the crowd, all of them of different ages, but noticeably younger than Lance. Can I just say, this game has had incredible world building this entire time. Like, for being what it is, like, it is doing a very good job of setting this scene and building this story. I'm sure that somebody could take, like, this concept and make an entire game out of it with, like, fetch quests and stuff like that. Like a 3D, like, Unreal Engine sort of thing. That would be fucking cool. And I would play that in a heartbeat, in all honesty. Damn, now I kind of want to learn how to do game design. 2 teenagers as tall as his chest and 1 girl a little older than Yuki. They also rushed to hug Lance, crying and scolding him at the same time. Are they his sisters? Hey, calm down, I'm fine, see? One of the teens, apparently second in command after Lance, pushed him in the chest, looking at Lance with eyes wet with tears. You have any idea what you're doing? How could you do that? Our mom was going crazy. She asked the hunters to look for you when you were gone. Why didn't you come back and tell her you were leaving? How could you even have the guts to do that, Lance? Jarl, I just didn't have time for this, that's all. I realized what I did was wrong. You're so stupid. Yuki sobbed again. Please don't fight. Gargo. What? Gargo? Jarl's right, Lance, it was awful. You were out for firewood and disappeared for 7 days. What? Guys, I get it. I'm telling you, there was no time. And after that moment, a woman with a tired, crying face came out of the crowd. As soon as Lance saw her, he was silent and his eyes narrowed guiltily. That's his mom! Uh-oh! He pissed off Wolf Mom! Mom. Oh, no. The woman took a few steps towards him. The children around Lance immediately moved away, and the woman came face to face with Lance and slapped him. You know! Kinda deserved. You kind of abandoned them, my dude. Juno and I flinched at that action, not expecting it and watching with open mouths. Lance didn't even flinch, lowering his head in shame, and then the woman immediately grabbed him in a tight embrace, sobbing on his shoulder. Wait. Wife or mom? No, he said mom, not wife. What is wrong with me? Mom, I'm sorry. It just happened. I know it's my fault that I did everything wrong. Lance stroked the woman's back as she continued to sob, clutching him in her arms. Juno and I watched in silence, turning away awkwardly every now and then to avoid staring. I like how we're just the awkward, like, slice of life anime, like, oh, we shouldn't be paying attention to this. Oh. Finally, everyone calmed down and the woman wiped away her tears. I want to introduce you to my new friends. Lance turned to us and beckoned us to come closer. Hello. Hi. Juno being bubbly as always. Look at that smile, it's so cute. These are my friends, Juno and Raeal. They are sky travelers. Juno is a protogen and Raeal is a human. I'm very man that is hue. I'm full of hue. That means color in my language. Haha! Lance's entire family stared at us as if they had just noticed our presence. Guys, it's my mom, Lillaray. Sounds like a Pokemon. Lillaray, I choose you! Disappointed mom stares at the other Pokemon until it retreats back into its own Pokeball. It was super effective. My brothers are Jarl and Gargo, and my sisters are Shali and Yuki. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Nice to meet you. The woman, Lillaray, finally wiped away her tears. Hello, dear travelers. You can just call me Ray. Thank you for saving us. Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Hey, where's your fur? Do you even have any? No fur! I am naked. I'm always naked. It's for Juno. One of the brothers, Gargo, looked at me thoughtfully. Lance grinned, remembering how he'd asked me the same question the first time we met. My species doesn't have fur. Oh, I see. Sorry for that. It's not a big deal. Raeal, Juno, would you like to join us for dinner? Yes! Food sounds amazing! We'd love to meet Lance's new friends. Juno and I looked at each other again. Thanks, Mrs. Ray, but we don't want to get in the way of your reunion. It's all right. Don't worry about interrupting anything. We don't get many sky travelers in our area. Do you get them often? Is this a thing that normally happens? I forget your lore. It's been a year. We would be honored to have you in our home. All right, then. Lead the way. I wonder if this is going to be the catalyst for Lance to be like, nah, I don't think I can leave. I got to be here for my sisters. Because if he goes traveling with us, then he leaves everybody behind. Like, there's probably not going to be a viable way to get back to his planet. So I think this is going to be the moment. I think he wanted to leave while he was already disconnected. And now that we're back, it might change his mind, or he might feel guilty and stay. I don't know. I have no idea. Ray smiled and the whole group headed toward their house. It was a little bigger than I thought it would be, though there wasn't much room inside for such a large family. Once we were inside, the change in atmosphere was noticeable, and it was surprisingly well lit and rather warm. A nice change of pace. The fireplace looks cozy as fuck, but I wish these backgrounds weren't so blurry! God, it's like I'm looking at this without my glasses, but I am wearing glasses. Among these new sensations was the distinct but pleasant scent of fresh homemade food. Ray immediately invited us to the large table in the center where everyone miraculously fit together. The house was small, but it felt cozy and welcoming. All the children, after finally recovering from the heartbreaking reunion with their brother, were immediately clinging to Juno and me with questions. We gladly answered their questions and told them everything they wanted to know. I tried to answer their questions as clearly as possible about our life, about what my planet was like, how we lived, and what we believed in. The food served by Ray, though not much, was very tasty. I'm sorry, a homemade meal will always trump anything else. Absolutely. Like, a nice, warm, or hot homemade meal will always be better than something like McDonald's or, some low-effort thing. Especially one done by a mom. You know that fucking stew was made with love. Having been in space for over 2 years, I had forgotten how delicious this kind of food was, cooked by the hands of a loving mother. Exactly! The dinner turned out to be very memorable, warm, and cozy, and I quickly got reacclimated to the atmosphere of a real home, something I had forgotten long ago. Man, the pains. Oh, the sad. Oh, God, it's tugging at my heartstrings because our guy doesn't have a family anymore. I wanted to stay here longer, even though I knew it was impossible. Our mission on Wire was over, and we had to travel further into space. The atmosphere of comfort had such a strong effect on me that I went outside to catch my breath several times. Aw, man. My departure went almost unnoticed by the children and Ray, who were too absorbed with Juno's stories. I looked up at the black, cloud-covered sky and looked around at the neighbors' houses with lights in their windows. The thought that I would soon be back on the ship heading into black, endless space felt heavy in my chest. Now, after feeling something so memorable after such a long time, I didn't want to leave anymore, even though I thought I knew it was necessary. But this was not my planet and was ultimately not my home. I couldn't stay here even if we succeeded in removing all of the anomalous devices. Soon I heard the door open behind me and someone stood nearby. I realized almost immediately who it was. Lance? Yep. I hope my family didn't bore you with their questions. My siblings have never seen a sky traveler, and they're too young to remember the last protogen that came to our planet. I shook my head at Lance's inquiry. No, I just wanted to get some fresh air while we're here. You have a great family. Why haven't you said anything about them? I don't know. I guess I didn't want to bring it up, and generally speaking, I didn't want to think about them. It just makes the decision much harder. Use that to guide your decision. Don't cut your family out because you'll never see them again, jackass! Besides, I didn't know how you'd feel about me having family here. Maybe you'd tell me to go home and not waste my time with such a crazy idea. I hummed, realizing that was exactly and I was the oldest child in the family. So after my father died, I had to become the head of the family. This responsibility fell upon me, and I was not ready for it. Then why do you want to leave? Why are you going to leave your family without that leader, without that protector? Think about them. Don't think about you. Think about where you're needed, not where you want to go in this case. Because, like, you leave your family behind, that's it. You can't go back. You can't take that back. Even if you find a way back in the future, you're not gonna be accepted. You abandoned them. I was just a kid. I hadn't even gone through the initiation rite. What's the rite for? It's a rite of shifting into adulthood that every teenager goes through when they turn 15. My siblings were very young then. Jarl, the second oldest, was 10, and Yuki had just been born. My personal life and dreams were over. I had to take responsibility for the family, learn to hunt, make decisions with my mother. Every morning I had to get up before everybody else to fetch kindling, then bring water, then look after my brothers and sisters. And then go hunting with the other men of the village until evening so that I could bring home some food to our house. I've always wanted to travel ever since I was a kid. I've dreamed of going somewhere far, far away, seeing new places, meeting someone. I didn't want to stay here. This planet, this climate, this snow. I hated it. And then the Protogen arrived. I was already thinking that I wanted to get out of here, but that Protogen told me about amazing places, new planets where it was warm and sunny. It all sounded like a fairy tale to me. I dreamed of escaping that life, the one forced upon me only because I was the firstborn son. I loved my family, Raeal, but that dream been in my heart for so many years. So many years it lived in my heart, warmed me, gave me hope. I was too young to fly away with that Protogen then. No one would take a child on such a journey. I'm really curious about this Protogen he's talking about. Is it Xena or is it somebody else? But now I feel this is my last chance. I won't be lucky enough to meet any more sky travelers in the near future. What if one comes to us in 10 years? 20 years from now? By then, I'll have a family of my own, and I'll be forever tied to them, to this place. You're tied to it now is what you don't understand, and I have a feeling our guy is about to tell them exactly what happened to his planet. God, this is making me tear up, man. Oh, I don't like feeling things! Lance sighed heavily. My heart ached with longing for my parents, for my village, for people who no longer existed. Lance had all that, and he was just going to leave them? Just leave it all behind and go off into the stars, aimlessly explore vast galaxies. You know what? If there was any time for a valid crash out from our protagonist about this kind of stuff, now would be the time to crash out. Now would be the time to tell him everything that happened about his planet and the family he can never go back to. I guess that's what made me angry and irritated, because Lance had a choice, and now he was suddenly ready for the unknown. His dream, which could turn out to be a nightmare, was more important than his family, than all the people who loved and protected him. Doesn't it hurt you to leave them here alone? Haven't you thought about what will happen to them? How will they survive after you leave? Lance was silent for a few moments, apparently not knowing how to answer, because he didn't think of it! He's being greedy! Of course I've thought about that, and of course it hurts me, but Jarl is an adult now. Soon he'll be 15. He'll be initiated, and he'll take my place. He'll be the head of the family, taking care of our mother and the younger ones, and I can be free of my duties and finally do something for myself. That is such a selfish outlook, dude. I get that you had your childhood and you had your life taken away from you to live at the age of 12, but you're passing on this feeling you currently have to your brother, who's going to be 15 soon and take over the head of the household. That's a problem. You have a family, Lance, and you want to just leave them? How did they react when they found out you were leaving? Lance sighed heavily. You didn't tell them. Are you serious? You didn't even tell them? They don't need to know. They'll try to talk me out of it, and I don't want that. You do not get to be angry here, mister. Bad dog! Bad dog! I turned back to Lance with indignation on my face. You kidding? They're gonna worry like crazy. They love you so much. Lance lowered his gaze bashfully. I know! Damn it, I know, Raeal, but You can't do that. It's your family, your loved ones. I know! Why are you even lecturing me? You're the one who flew away from your family and your planet. Why are you allowed to leave and I'm not? And this is where we rip the Band-Aid off. Lance looked at me with a longing fire in his eyes, a powerful, heartbreaking mixture. I could see that he felt guilt, and I could see that he was angry at himself, at me, at the world that he'd felt that had treated him so unfavorably. I sighed heavily, averting my gaze. I didn't leave my family, Lance. My family died alongside my whole planet. When this fact reached Lance, his eyes rounded, his face stretched. What? Really? I'm so sorry, Raeal. What happened to them? Juno couldn't save them, right? I was silent for a few moments. It wasn't easy to talk about it. Even though 2 years had passed, it was still hard for me to think about. The anomaly tore my planet to pieces. And if it hadn't been for Juno, I would have died too, like everyone else. She was able to create a vaccine and cure me, but it was too late. I was the only survivor of my species, of my civilization. I'll never forget it. I'll never forgive myself for not being able to do anything to help them. Lance said nothing. His face was full of sadness, so I continued my monologue. Remember when I said there was a chosen one on my planet? That the elders decided that I was the savior? That I had the help of our goddess? You have no idea how real that was. How seriously everyone in my village, including my parents, took that prophecy. I understand perfectly well what it means to be deprived of choice. I understand what it's like to be forced to live a life you didn't choose for yourself. I was not allowed to do anything. Hell, I wasn't even allowed to walk around at certain times, forced to stay on a certain route, forced at certain times without ever leaving the village. Felt like an outcast. I felt like I was the property of the village, and I didn't want to live like that. I ran away, leaving my parents and my village. Villagers perceived that as a betrayal. But when I returned home, everything had already been destroyed. There was no one to save. I managed to catch my mother in her last moments and ask her for forgiveness, but she died before anything could be said. I realize now that if I had stayed in the village, I would have died the same way as everyone else, but I still feel guilty. I can't stop thinking that even if I died, I would be surrounded by my family and would have been with them until the last minute. I can't get over it, and I can't forgive whoever did this to my planet. I'm consumed with hatred and anger, Lance. That's why Juno and I are chasing the anomaly. I'm not discouraging you from giving up your dream, buddy. But if I had one slim chance, 1 in a million odds, to see my parents again, I'd take it. I'd do anything to hold them again. Talk to them just to see them one final time. We don't like life on this planet. Maybe you think that somewhere out there, in another world, you'll be better off. But believe me, longing for your family is an overwhelming torture, and it will drown out all other feelings. You might not be able to contact them again, and it's incomprehensible to me how you can choose that consciously. How you can consciously leave your home, leave the ones you love. I stopped talking, and Lance and I fell into silence. Both of us were thinking about our own things. I realized that my words sounded like I was talking Lance out of it, but really I just wanted him to understand that sometimes dreams weren't worth chasing if it meant giving up the ones that love you so dearly. Sometimes a new life can be much scarier and worse than the one you were running from. I didn't regret meeting Juno. She was a ray of light in my life, my savior, my love. But more and more, I came to realize that I would prefer to live with her on my planet, that I would prefer to be close to her and to my family. It's a dream that will never come true, something that will never happen in reality. Door opened again, and Juno stepped out. Oh, thank you! God, this is getting a little heavy for my tastes! Oh, you're here. Is something wrong? Silence between us was so tense that Juno must have already guessed what we were talking about. It's okay, just having a little chat. Yeah, we were just discussing something about tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we were scheduled to leave the planet. I've called the jet. We'll spend the night in it near the village. We'll leave in the morning. Everyone is tired and should get some much-needed sleep. Especially you, Juno! You haven't slept since 2 days ago! Yeah, good idea. I won't want to fly anywhere today. I don't want to fly anywhere today. Lance remains silent, buried deep in his thoughts. Lance, are you okay? You haven't changed your mind, have you? Tomorrow morning, we'll be waiting for you at the north exit of the village if you decide to fly with us. We'll be leaving at dawn. At Juno's words, Lance nodded. Yeah, okay. I'll meet you at sunrise. Good night, friends. Well, there we go. With these words, he turned and went into the house. Juno and I stayed outside. What were you two talking about? What did you say to him? I shrugged. Told him the truth. Juno smiled softly, and we set off through the village toward the exit where the jet was waiting for us. Discouraged him from flying away? No, he just said it was a very hard choice. Sometimes giving up the past and moving into the future is what needs to be done for a better life. Lance is not responsible for his family, Raeal. He's only 17. He didn't start this family or have kids to abandon them later. He's just as much a teenager himself. When he realizes it was a mistake, it will be too late. What makes you think he'll think it was a mistake? I'm sorry! I'm the fucking poster child! I stayed silent. Juno understood my thoughts and didn't ask anything else. God, dude! I don't know. Maybe the fact that I no longer have a family to go back to. We reached the jet and stepped inside, taking off our thermal protective clothing, which was quickly becoming wet from the melted snow. It's gonna be okay, Raeal. Lance's decision is not your responsibility. Even if you think he's making the wrong choice, it'll only be his mistake. And we gave him... I think he needed to know where we were coming from, though, because now he'll make a decision with that knowledge, and he might make... It's important to make an informed decision. Don't talk him out of it, okay? Let him make the choice on his own. And then we'll see what he decides. I sighed, realizing Juno was right. I couldn't be responsible for the choices Lance had made. I couldn't talk him out of it, even if I didn't think he was making the right choice. Let's go to bed. We leave tomorrow morning. We'll also have to analyze the data Pixie has collected from the devices. Juno took my hand and pulled me toward the bed, and we climbed in together, but I tossed and turned for a long time. The next day. All right, everybody, that is where I'm going to leave this episode. What an emotional roller coaster. I really hope Lance ends up making the right decision to stay with his family. I get that he's still a teenager, he still has his life to live, and he should be free to make that choice because he had that life stolen from him when his dad died, right? I still don't think it's the right choice. I think our character did the right thing telling Lance about his own situation, our own situation, about our planet being destroyed, our parents and village dying, like our planet no longer existing. I think that was the right choice. And like I said, moving forward, whatever Lance decides is his decision, and he's informed to make that decision now. So I really hope he does choose to kind of like stay in the village. I hope he does choose to stay. I don't know, though. We'll have to see in the next episode. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Remember to comment your favorite dessert down below, what you think you would like to have with Juno. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this in the future. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. I am Raeal the Protogen, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody. Wacka, 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 wacka.